But today I'm going to take you through a minimalist stretch routine. I'm going to break it up into two parts. The first part is something that you can do every single day without fail, sort of like brushing your teeth. It's simple but effective and so easy you'd be silly not to do it even on your busiest days. The second part is for when you have a little bit of extra time after doing the bare minimum. Now think of this as maybe like the mouthwash after brushing your teeth to make things feel extra nice. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to finish off in answering some common questions, so be sure to stick around to the end of the video for that. Pause the video right now to get ready, and then let's do this routine together. All right, so the bare minimum routine has only 3 movements. You want to look at doing 30 seconds each side where appropriate for a minute each. Total of 3 minutes, that's it. We're going to start off with quadruped torso circles. So starting off with hands on the floor, shoulder width apart, shoulders over hands, hips over knees. From here, start off by pushing your back towards the ceiling. And then you're going to start working on rotating by dropping to the side and down with your stomach, and then going to the opposite side and pushing up to the ceiling. Now, the cool thing about doing this, again, we're doing this for 30 seconds on this side, is that you're also going to be stretching out the wrist just a little bit. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here. You're also looking at stretching out the scaps, getting things good and ready to go for the day. All right, just one more. And now we're going to switch, go the opposite direction. So this time, pushing to the side, push away from the ground, keeping your arms locked out. Try and make as big of a circle as you can. And again, keeping the arms locked out, as I mentioned, this is going to really help in making sure that you are hitting everything that we want to hit when we're performing these quadruped torso circles. We'll do one more. There we go. So that was about a minute. Next off, we're going to look at doing the lunge. Now, when you're performing this, you want to look at 90-90. So hip over the knee, knee over the ankle here. You're going to squeeze your butt. This is going to give a good pelvic tilt here. And with squeezing that, it's going to bring focus on the quad. From here, chest up, we're going to pulse forward. And by squeezing your butt and bringing focus to the quad, you're not going to be able to go that far forward. We're going to do this for 5 reps. And now let's just hold it right here. You're still squeezing your butt. The chest is up. Should feel a really good stretch all the way from your quad up into the hip flexors. Keep holding this again. This is going to be 30 seconds on this side. If need be, you can use a prop for support in order to help you to keep your balance. All right, that's about 30 seconds. Next off, opposite side, same deal. Knee over foot, hip over knee, squeezing the butt, chest is up, pulsing forward while we continue to squeeze our butt. About 5 of these, and we're going to hold it right here. Continuing to squeeze. Chest is up. That's a good stretch right there. So again, 30 seconds each side. Super, super minimalist, if you will, but we're going to be hitting everything, just the bare minimum in order to get us good and ready for the day. Right? That's about 30 seconds. Now, for the next one, let's say you're rushed for time and you only have 1 minute. If you only have 1 minute, then I suggest focusing on this next movement only, the barest of bare minimum. What we're going to do is we're going to go from the A-frame into the squat. We'll start off, shoulders over the hands, hips over the knees. From here, we're just going to push the butt up into the air. Don't worry if you can't lock out your legs. Totally cool. If you need to bend your legs, that's just fine. Hang out here for 1, 2, 3. You're going to walk your feet forward. You're going to go into the deepest squat that you can perform. You might not be able to go as far down as I'm doing right here. Perfectly fine. Hands go back on the floor. You're going to step back into this A-frame position. 1, 2, 3. Stepping forward. You can step forward with the same foot each time or alternate. Really doesn't matter. The most important thing is trying to go into this deep squat, bringing your chest up, sinking as low as you can, and then after that, going back into the A-frame, looking at doing this for a minute, 2, 3. Continue going, gradually going deeper and deeper into the squat, trying to sit your butt down towards your heels. Chest is up, hands to the floor again, raising the butt up into the air as you go back into this A-frame position. We'll make this our last 1, 2, 3. Once again, into your squat. Sinking deep, chest up. There you go. There's your bare minimum routine. All right, now if you've got some extra time, then here's some things that you can add in. We're gonna start off with hanging. And by the way, if you don't have a bar like I have, don't worry. I'm gonna show you a little modification you can do on the floor. It's gonna work out to be kind of similar to hanging. All you're gonna do is grab a hold of the bar above, hands shoulder width apart, and simply hang. It doesn't get any easier than this. Now, in the very beginning, this might be difficult for you. You might need to have your toes on the ground. That's totally cool. Work up to being able to do a minute. Key thing here is just relaxing in this position, holding on. You can bring your feet off of the ground. And remember, this is just in the morning, a little stretch here that we're after, not trying to do anything fancy at all. Now, if you don't have a bar, still cool. Here's a little thing that you can do. And that is, just go up on your toes here. You're gonna bring your hands out in front of you. And the key point is pushing away as you pull your hips back. It's going to be similar to hanging. I know it's a little bit different, but hey, if you don't have a bar, you got to do what you can in order to make this work. So again, as I'm pushing away from me, my hands forward, trying to sit my butt back as I'm doing this. And that's it really, okay? Now, so that's our first move, first two moves actually. Second thing that we're going to be looking at is actually doing torso rotation. And so we're going to start off, this is going to be similar to the rotations that we did earlier here, but with a twist. Haha, actually rotation. But you can either take your hand to your back here when you're doing it, or you could even place your hand on the back of your head. Now, when doing this though, I like to actually bring my base hand to the middle, and then I'll place the other hand here. What we're trying to do is actively push away from the ground and then open up the chest, looking up at the ceiling. Then we'll drop the shoulder to the hand and continue this movement. We'll be holding this. I like to do it about 3 times. I'll hold for about 10 seconds each, drop down, hold this a little bit, and then continue. Again, like I said, you can put your hand on the back of your neck if you would like. Really, preference is up to you. As I mentioned, I like to have my hand behind here. Make sure you do both sides, by the way. So here, dropping, pushing down and away from the ground as we open up our body, looking towards the ceiling, and there you have it. All right, next thing we're gonna take a look at is the 90-90 position. So this is simply where we're getting into a modified pigeon type position. Why is this 90-90? It's because we have our legs kind of at like a 90-90 degree. Yeah, Ryan, that's not a 90-90. Okay, that's cool, I get it, but let's just call it a 90-90, all right? Cool thing about this is you can make adjustments depending on your range of motion. You can pull the leg in closer in order to make it a little bit easier for you. The better flexibility and mobility you have, you can bring the leg further out. Key point though is just simply try to bring your chest over the middle of your shin here. So hands on both sides here, chest is up. I'm pulling the hip forward as I pulse forward, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can just hang out here 30 seconds, all right? And 30. All right, now we're just gonna switch sides, same deal. And you actually might find that one side is a bit easier. It's totally cool. Remember, you can just make adjustments by either bringing the foot closer to you or further away from you. Both hands, opening up on the side of the leg here, taking the chest over the top of the shin here, pulling the hip forward just slightly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hang out here about 30 seconds. And you know, hey, because you have a little bit extra time, you can adjust that time as well. If you wanted to hold it up, 45 seconds or a minute, it's totally cool. It's up to you, right? Okay, so that's our 90-90. Now, the last thing we're going to be looking at is a 3-point bridge. This is great. This is going to open everything up. So when we're performing this, just start off by having your feet about shoulder width apart. You're going to take, in this case, my right hand, placing it back behind me where my fingers are facing that opposite wall. I'm going to start off by taking my shoulder, pulling it up and rotating it back and down so I can bring my chest up. Now from here, simply going to bring my hips up. Now, how high should you bring them? Well, this depends on your range of motion, okay? Everything is up to you. And so just try and pull up, but the key point is pushing down and through and getting this external rotation of the arm. And so think of taking the elbow pit, rotating it out to the side. This is going to help open everything up. You might find that you're rotating more towards your hand. You might find that you can stay up into this position. No need to like extend your arm or anything. Just in the beginning, just try and get into a position that's going to allow you to hold this position for about 30 seconds. So you do that, same deal, opposite side. Like anything you might find, it's easier on one side than the other. Just try and focus on the cues that I'm giving you, feet shoulder width apart, fingers facing backwards, external rotation of the arm as you get into this position, trying to keep the hips square, in this case to the ceiling. Like I mentioned earlier, feel free to use your arms if you want. You can bring it back depending on your mobility, but work up to about 30 seconds when you're doing it. So all right, there you got it. I gave you 2 different versions here. The bare minimum plus even one that just looks at the single movement, which is the A-frame to the squat. If you only have 1 minute, then do that movement. That's where you start. If you got some extra time, then you can look at the other movements that I gave you. Like anything, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. And hey, have a great day. Q&A time. First question, what if I don't have time for even the bare minimum? No time for 1 minute? That's crazy. I think you can fit that 1 minute in there. If you are having trouble fitting in 1 minute of morning mobility, then you need to look at your priorities. What if I can't get into a squat? All right, perfectly valid now. Remember, the movement that I showed you in here in terms of the squat should be done in a position that's good for you. Just because you can't go all the way down the way that I did doesn't mean that that's a bad thing, because you just need to work at a level that's good for you. Gradually work on getting better at your squat. And by the way, check out our tutorials on the squat. What if my wrists hurt and I can't do this? Another question that we get a lot, check out our wrist routine and just go at a pace that's going to be good for you. That's the main thing. One other little thing, a little tip that can help is to take your fingers and rotate them out to the side slightly. This will alleviate a bit of the discomfort in your wrists. Why didn't you include any side flexion in this? Okay, remember, this is kind of a minimalist routine, and the reason that I chose these is because it hits pretty much everything that we want. If you do need some other stuff, then hey, by all means, feel free to do it. What about breathing? Breathing is good. If you're not breathing, you're dying, okay? I joke, but not really. Breathing, obviously, many different protocols to do. All I suggest is whenever you're performing your morning mobility routine is to breathe in a way that's good for you. Don't hold your breath while you're doing this. Next question, should I do my cold shower before or after this routine? Yes. All right, so should I do this routine every single day? If you can, yes. I actually have a morning routine that I do, my mobility, and pretty much every single day I do it. Now, there might be a day where I don't do the full thing, but hey, this is where I give you the bare minimum routine that you can do. I just really think if you stick with at least doing this bare minimum routine, it's going to help you. It's a good start to your day. Now, Ryan, you told me that I should hold this for 30 seconds. Is there a period of time where I actually hold it too much? Okay, so I think you're asking like, can I hold it for 2, 3, 5 minutes? You know what? I don't suggest that. I say start off your morning, just go 30 seconds to a minute at the most, and then be off with your day. There's a lot of other little things in there why holding stretches more than 1 minute might actually not make a difference. That's a whole other video. All right, so Ryan, is this safe to do immediately after waking up? And should I do it before or after breakfast? Well, I think it's really up to you. Personally, I just like to do my morning routine just right after waking up. That's just me. I do it on an empty stomach for the reasons because I don't eat breakfast. But hey, that's me. Do what feels right for you. And maybe if you want to, you can try it before your breakfast and then after your breakfast and just see which one works best for you. Hey Ryan, how can I grow luscious eyebrows like you? I cover that over on my Instagram account. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and check out all our other lovely videos on our channel.